Imagine you're on a quiet jog through the woods, alone enjoying the morning air. Suddenly you hear a rustle, then a scream, your scream, as a wild animal charges toward you, eyes locked, teeth bared. What would you do? In a shocking twist, one hero teen appears on the trail. A showdown unfolds between a crazed groundhog and a courageous young man. This isn't just any animal encounter, this is a real-life showdown you won't believe. It's raw, it's wild, it's pure Savage Tales material. Welcome back to Savage Tales Animal Encounters. Here on this channel, we bring you the most unbelievable, jaw-dropping and downright wild encounters between humans and the untamed world. From fierce, fearless animals to daring, quick-thinking humans, we've got stories that'll make you look at nature in a whole new way. Today's story takes us into the dense woods of New Jersey, where a young teen had to think fast when a seemingly innocent morning jog turned into a showdown with a crazed groundhog that had its sights set on an unsuspecting jogger. But before we dive into all the action, if you're here for thrilling tales of courage, survival, and those unexpected moments when nature turns wild, you're in the right place. Make sure to give us a like if this sounds like your kind of content. And hey, don't just keep this wildness to yourself. Share this video with fellow animal lovers and thrill seekers out there. And don't forget to let us know in the comments what you do in a moment like this. Do you fight, freeze, or flee? And if you're new here, hit that subscribe button so you'll never miss a second of the wildest, most savage animal encounters on YouTube. And make sure to click that notifications bell so you're always the first to know when a new Savage Tale drops. Ready to dive into the action? Let's jump into today's story and uncover how one brave teen managed to face off with a groundhog gone rogue. This is Savage Tales Animal Encounters, where the wild always finds a way. Savage Tales, Animal Encounters, where nature goes wild and heroes rise. On a clear, crisp July morning in Basking Ridge, New Jersey, Cait Lostan laced up her running shoes, ready to start her daily trail run. The path, nestled behind the Bernards Township Police Department and Ridge High School, was one she had traveled countless times before. A familiar place of solitude, where the world faded away, leaving only the rhythmic thud of her footsteps and the sounds of nature. As she jogged deeper into the woods, Cait found herself marveling at the early light filtering through the trees, catching glimpses of birds darting between branches. The air felt fresh, and the quiet was almost too peaceful. But as she rounded a familiar bend, she noticed something peculiar on the path up ahead. A small round figure sat still, almost blending into the trail. Cait squinted, her pace slowing as she approached. It was a groundhog, a common sight in these woods, but something seemed off. Normally, they scurried away at the first sign of humans. This one, however, sat motionless, almost as if it were waiting. Cait assumed the creature was either injured or sick. Concerned, she decided to keep her distance, but couldn't help but take a closer look. Just then, her phone buzzed with an incoming call. Without thinking, she answered on speakerphone, the sudden burst of noise echoing through the quiet woods. Startled, the groundhog whipped its head up, its eyes locking onto hers with a sharp intensity she hadn't expected. The moment hung, tense and electric, as the creature's calm demeanor dissolved into something altogether different. Meanwhile, Caleb Morris, a 9th grader at Ridge High School and avid runner, was finishing his own cross-country training nearby. He was on the adjacent path, reveling in the sense of accomplishment from a challenging morning run. As he slowed to a cool-down jog, he became aware of a strange sound filtering through the otherwise serene forest. A muffled shout, followed by something that sounded like a scream. Caleb paused, listening as the noise grew louder, more panicked. Intrigued and a bit concerned, he jogged over to the path that Cait was on, thinking perhaps someone had tripped or twisted an ankle. But as he got closer, he could tell this was no ordinary cry for help. It was the kind of scream that carried true fear, not just surprise. His heart raced with curiosity and concern as he approached the bend where the noises seemed to be coming from. At that very moment, Cait's concern shifted to outright terror. The groundhog, once merely still and peculiar, had transformed into something wild. With a guttural, chilling scream, it lunged at her, teeth bared, a sound so unnatural and primal that Cait's blood ran cold. She stumbled backward, her feet slipping on the loose dirt as the groundhog charged forward, hissing and gnashing its teeth. She flung her phone at it in a desperate attempt to defend herself, but the creature only seemed more enraged, grabbing hold of the device with a vicious intensity, sinking its teeth into the plastic. Just as Cait hit the ground, desperately kicking and screaming, Caleb rounded the bend. In an instant, he understood the gravity of the situation. A small, but clearly furious animal was attacking a woman, and she was struggling to keep it at bay. With adrenaline surging through his veins, Caleb froze momentarily, stunned at the sight. But as the horrifying screams of both the woman and the crazed groundhog filled the air, he knew he had to act fast. As Caleb took in the chaotic scene before him, his mind raced. Cait was on her back, furiously kicking as the groundhog, gnawing viciously on her phone, seemed hell-bent on getting closer. Its small, wiry frame belied the ferocity of its attacks. Hissing, growling and clawing its way over loose dirt and leaves, the animal was relentless, its eyes glazed with what Caleb could only describe as pure rage or illness. The groundhog's body lunged forward with shocking agility, bouncing back from each kick Cait managed to land on it. The creature's teeth sank into her phone with such force that cracks spidered across the screen, shards splintering and embedding in the dirt. Cait's screams were piercing, filling the quiet forest with a desperation that made Caleb's pulse pound. For a moment he was frozen, caught between disbelief and fear. Groundhogs didn't attack people, not like this. They didn't have the instinct to lunge or the courage to stay after being kicked. But this one did, and the small but intense standoff was escalating fast. Cait's defenses were weakening. Her kicks slowed as her panic overtook her strength, and the groundhog seemed to sense it. Its focus shifted from the shattered phone to her exposed legs. Without a second thought, Caleb acted, instinct overtaking fear. He ran to her side, grabbed a large stick from the ground and jabbed it between Cait and the rabid animal. He twisted the stick to force the creature back, creating a barrier, hoping to push it away and give her a chance to get up. The groundhog released a high-pitched scream, louder and more piercing than anything Cait had uttered, its rage now fixed firmly on Caleb. The animal launched itself at the stick, teeth clamping down with such force that the wood splintered under its bite. Caleb wrenched the stick back, shaking it to try to dislodge the animal's grip, but the creature held on with a frenzied determination. Just as Caleb felt the stick give way, Cait, now on her feet but still dazed, managed to call out to him. "Behind you!" she yelled, her voice filled with urgency. Caleb barely had time to register her warning before the groundhog released the stick, lunging straight for him. He stumbled back, raising his arms in defense as the groundhog's teeth snapped inches from his skin. Cait, regaining her composure and driven by adrenaline, grabbed her shattered phone and hurled it at the groundhog's head with as much force as she could muster. The impact stunned the creature just long enough for Caleb to recover his balance and shield her behind him. As the groundhog shook itself from the impact, both Cait and Caleb instinctively stepped back, preparing to run. But just then, a familiar voice crackled through the woods, a police officer's shout. The sound seemed to pierce through the tense atmosphere, startling the groundhog. The officer, alerted by the 911 call Caleb had placed using Siri moments earlier, was running up the path, followed by another officer, both with their batons ready. The officers closed in quickly, positioning themselves between Cait, Caleb, and the creature. They cautiously approached, attempting to corral the frenzied groundhog, which was now spinning in erratic circles, growling, its eyes darting wildly between its new targets. After several tense moments, the officers managed to restrain the creature with a humane animal control device. Cait and Caleb, still breathing heavily, watched in shock as the officers subdued the animal, now securely leashed and unable to do further harm. Cait's hands trembled as she picked up her broken phone from the ground, the screen barely functional, its surface smeared with dirt and scratch marks from the groundhog's attack. And there you have it, folks. An incredible story of courage and quick thinking in the face of a truly wild situation. Who would have thought a routine jog could turn into a groundhog showdown? A huge thank you to both Cait Lostan and Caleb Morris for showing us what bravery looks like in the wild. If you enjoyed this thrilling tale from Savage Tales, Animal Encounters, make sure to give us a big thumbs up. Your likes help us reach more adventure seekers and animal lovers like you. And while you're at it, don't forget to share this video with your friends and family. Let them join in on the excitement. We'd love to hear your thoughts too. Have you ever had an unexpected encounter with wildlife? What would you do in a situation like Cait and Caleb faced? Drop your stories and opinions in the comments below. We read every single one. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button to become part of our growing community. Join us on this adventure as we explore the wild world around us, uncovering stories that remind us of nature's unpredictability. Don't forget to ring that notifications bell so you'll be the first to know whenever we post new content. Thank you for watching. Remember, whether it's a curious critter or a fierce encounter, nature always keeps us on our toes. Until next time, stay wild and keep exploring. This is Savage Tales, Animal Encounters, where adventure awaits just around the corner. Savage Tales, Animal Encounters, where nature goes wild and heroes rise.